Hey guys, how's it going? I just wanted to show you something that I got in the mail a few days ago. It is a Tippmann Factory FA, and the FA stands for, of course, full auto. And it's basically a Pro Carbine, Pro Am, and Pro Light style body, except it has a different feed mechanism and a different slot milled in the top here for the shock absorber. And I'll talk about both of those. So first, let's go on and talk about the feed. And the feed mechanism is basically a predecessor to the Cyclone, except it builds up spring tension kind of like a Q loader, and you wind it up. And so as soon as there's a paintball here, let me grab one. As soon as there's a paintball in there, that'll start to build up spring tension. So I'm winding it now, and you can see that it's building spring tension. And then as soon as the ball gets loaded into the breech, like when I cock it, it'll all unwind. And now the ball is in the breech, and then I guess I'll just go ahead and shoot it out. And I guess I have a small barrel or a really big paintball, either one. Yep, it's right in there. There we go. So that's how the feed works, and I'm pretty sure it'll feed as quickly as a Q loader, just because it's kind of got the same drive. It's like it's spring tension, but I'm not sure. I did have it feeding pretty quickly. And so the next thing I want to talk about is the shock mechanism. And the shock mechanism, basically all it does is slow down the cyclic rate of the gun. And so whenever it's cocked, basically the hammer will first catch on this left sear. The left sear will get pushed forward like that, and then basically because of a little ramp milled into the body, the left sear will lift up and transfer the hammer to the right sear. The right sear will then move forward and lift up and transfer it to the main sear, which is down there in the gun, and that's just basically activated by pulling the trigger. So let's put it into semi. And you can kind of see it moving back and forth there. And so whenever you're shooting the gun, you can kind of see the sears just moving back and forth, kind of like this. And that's just slowing down the cyclic rate of the gun. And now you can also adjust the fire rate. Here, let me get some tools here. This one. Let's take off the shock cover housing. Okay. With this forward, you can see that it's exposed these two brass screws here, and the one on the left will control fire rate, and the one on the right will control sear depth, how far they reach down in and grab the hammer. And basically, the one on the left, all it does is, if you screw it in, it will decrease fire rate, and if you back it out, it will increase fire rate. And the way that works is it sort of controls the size of a hole, and if these two sears on the top here will sort of shuffle fluid back and forth between this little housing here, and it has to flow through a hole. And the smaller that hole is, the harder it is for the fluid to move, which means the sears are more stiffer, and then the hammer has to resist more force, and then it slows it down even more. So that's basically how that works. And the only difference between full auto and semi, here, let me tighten this back up real quick. Between full auto and semi is how far you can pull the trigger. I'm not sure why this would change anything, but in semi mode you can pull the trigger to right about there, and you can see that there's a gap between the trigger frame and the trigger. And then when we switch it to full auto, it goes, well, there's still a gap, but it goes actually a lot further back. It may not look like it, but when you're pulling on it, it's quite a bit further. And not sure exactly why this would change it from semi to full auto, but it does. So here, let's air it up and see what happens. Let's connect the remote. And I am out of HPA at the moment, so I'm going to have to use a CO2. So I need to make sure it stays upright so we don't get any liquid CO2 into the gun. Alright. I'm going to stick this in my pocket so that it doesn't fall over. Alright, so now here I'm going to go ahead and cock the gun for you. And I'll let you watch these sears as I shoot. So here we go. Okay, and now we're going to flip over into full auto as soon as I get this tangle out of the hose. Excuse me for a minute. Okay. Now we're going to flip into full auto, and yep, here we go. So as you can see, it's shooting decently fast. Here, we can increase the fire rate for you if you'd like. Here we go. We'll back this out an eighth of a turn here, and we'll see how fast it goes. So that's quite a bit faster. Let's go back to where we were, just so you can see the difference. So that does, a little turn there does change the cyclic rate quite a bit. And if you have any more questions, let me know and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.